Shalom from Yerushalayim, Shalom from Zion. On the way to Passover, which this year is also on the eve of Shabbat, as if all the blessings of the world of spring and of renewal and of blessings and of freedom are on the way to us and asking all the best for us, Jews wherever we are, human beings in the one human family wherever we are. I thought of some words because these are difficult days. I wanted to send words of blessing in days that have so much chaos and war and sadness for many, many human beings. How do we enter Passover this evening which is going to be on Shabbat? What does it mean to start and enter Passover in these days? Passover is all about order. I remember a story of Rabbi Leibovich, the student, the pupil of the Saba of Kelm, of the Rabbi of Kelm. And he said that on Passover, everything was exactly in order, exactly in the right place. Mamash, the kiseh, the chair had to be exactly in the right place. The eyes had to be exactly in the right place. The clothes, everything had to be in the right place because the rabbi, the teacher of Kelm, believed that order is the principle of all principles, that the world needs to be created from within order. There has to be an order that has place for everyone, time for everyone. But the real question is every order good for everyone? And what is Pesach all about? Why is it called Seder? Why do we say Seder? Seder in Hebrew means order, organization. Does it mean any kind of organization, any kind of order? I think the opposite. I think the word Seder wants us to ask, which kind of order do we live in? Which kind of order did we create? And to really make us believe in ourselves, in human beings, in every human being, every individual, that we are able to influence order wherever we live in our world, in our country, in our community, in our family, for the better. The question is never to be or not to be. The question is how to be. What kind of an order? And how do we contribute to that order? And what kind of a world are we creating in our time and inviting us to come out of Egypt, to come out of an order that is not good to another one? Even within the Hebrew word seder, order, we all go to Seder. Seder has two opposite meanings in it. The first is sad. Sad is a very narrow place. You can't move. You can't move to no direction. Sodom, comes from the word sad. There's no place to move, no kindness to see, no other human being to notice. It's all about us standing in a very specific way and not moving. That's Sodom. It's a place of cruelty. That lies and resides in the word sedil, order. But another word which is exactly the opposite is the word dar, ladur, to reside, to do it together in a very wide, spacious place that has room for all of us together. And the very word seder asks us, where will we reside? In Sdom, in a place of narrowness? In Mitzrayim, in a place of narrowness? Or ladur, in a very big place that is being built, on which we hear about at the very end of the Seder, L'shana haba'a b'Yerushalayim habnuya. Next year in a place that is built for all and has a place for all, Yerushalayim. That is exactly where the Haggadah lies, between the Sad, Sdom, and between Yerushalayim, Ladur. And the word Seder itself takes us to a journey around these areas of questions and around a journey of how do we make sure which kind of an order do we live in. And I think it takes us through 4 different stations. The first one, the first place, is a place called Kol Dichfin, Halachmania. I want to make sure when I start my Seder, is there a place here for all the people around? Is my house open? Is my country open? Is this world open for all human beings? Kol Dichfin means anyone. Is there a place here for anyone? Many times I think about the name of God, Yud Hey Vav Hey. And the name of God actually makes no sense. It's not a name, it's letters. But when you look into the letters, Yud, Hey, Vav Hey, you see that they're letters of cry. It's someone who says, he can't talk, he doesn't even have speech, or she or they. The name of God, it's as if it's lent, it's rented. To those who have no words, they have sighs, they have sobs, they have sorrow, they have screams and yells. or they have silence. God itself says in His words, in His name, all the time, Kol dichfin. So I would say the first station is care. Is this a place of care? Is this an order of care? Does the order in which I live have care? The second one is questions. Manishtana. Does the order I live in have questions? Is it criticizing itself? Is it checking itself and making itself better? Manishtana, but not only one question. It's not enough for the Haggadah. The Haggadah wants us to bring questions of different human beings, of 4 children. It could be daughters, it could be boys, but all of them have very different questions, like all of us. We're different, we're meant to be different. And we need to have different sets of questions. We can't say to the right, you can't ask questions. We can't say to the left, you can't have questions. All of us should have questions, and they're important. So we grow together. So we acknowledge the fact that we have many different people all around us, and all of them have something to say as long as they listen to each other. Manishtana, maybe the greatest shinui, maybe the greatest difference is that they finally sit together and have time to listen to each other and have the patience to listen to each other's questions and converse and have a conversation. But the most important thing is that they want to hear each other and they sit together. It's a family that has right and left and boys and girls and them and all kinds of people, and all of them have place. And then the next place is Vehishe Amda, standing up, acting. Vehishe Amda, and then the words Tseh ulmad, go out and see the world. Don't sit here. Go out and see the world and act. Like the story of Egypt, Dam, Tzfardea, 10 plagues. Each one of us an action. Action isn't an easy thing. It's never nice. It's never aesthetic. But it has to be prudent. It has to leave a world that can keep on living. Maybe these actions were very, very harsh. These actions do not belong to human beings. They belong to God. We have to be very careful with our actions, and yet we have to act. Acting with prudency. Acting while we see that around us we have to still create a world that has people in it, different kinds of people, nations in it, different kind of nations, but yet acting, vehishe amda, standing up, making sure that we do something about what we see, making sure that we contribute to the society in which we live, and we do it in a constructive way, in a way that really makes people, enables people to keep on walking towards Yerushalayim, never being left in Egypt, never being left in Sodom. And then maybe the last thing is dayenu, being able to also say gratitude, to say, I'm happy all of you are here. I'm happy all of us are here. Not neglecting anyone, not saying to that person, you have no place here. To make sure that all of us can really live together, dayenu. So many times we say dayeni, I'm happy about me. But dayenu is in the plural. It has to be in the plural. The whole story of Egypt, of Yetziat Mitzrayim, is about the plural, going out together. I don't want to go out of Egypt by myself. When you go out of Egypt, you go together. And it trembles the world. The whole world trembles of it. Suddenly realizing it was in Egypt, suddenly realizing how many terrible things have happened there. But leaving someone behind will never solve the problem. We have to stand up together and go together to Eretz Israel, knowing that within us there are different kinds of people, attitudes. Some are tzaddikim, some are reshaim, some are cruel people. And we have to make sure to understand the picture in which we live, the world in which we live, and make sure to choose those people with which we can go kadima, go forward. But always remember that it's never alone. And then understand suddenly that the Haggadah starts with the word Hineni. Here I am. Right after Pesach, we'll start saying Hineni Muchan Umzuman. Here I am, saying the Omer, counting the Omer from Passover to Shavuot. Hineni, here I am. It's the most beautiful word to say, here I am. It's not saying me. It's saying I am standing here and I have worth of some sort. And this worth of some sort will contribute to the world in some way. Hineni. Hineni is always on the way to anachnu, to us. In general, I feel that our generation speaks a lot about the individual. Sometimes maybe a bit too much. The individual is very, very important. Every individual. And they all have to be equal. But sometimes I feel that we leave individuals lonely. And in this world, which still feels COVID in many, many ways, I think one of the wishes I have is that the individual will not be lonely, that it will be part of something great, something called us, called anachnu. Maybe that's why it's so beautiful that the end of the Agadah, the last words of the Agadah, is L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim habnuya. It wishes for us all. It moves in a way from Hineni, here I am, to Hinenu, here we are, and here we shall be. The ability to move from one to many, to be part of many, to have a voice within the many, and to pray for the many, for all the people around me. Haggadah is a school. Sometimes I hear that there are schools for youth going, and I say to myself, we have schools for youth, and we have schools for children, and we have school for elderly, and we have school for adult, and it's called Pesach. Pesach is going to a school. The whole family does homeschooling, sitting in the home and understanding something about the order in which we live. It's a very political evening, and it's a very personal evening. It tells us that we have tools to examine the place in which we live. It tells us that we have a voice. It tells us, Hineni, stand up, make something out of your voice, make sure it's heard. And it also tells us, dream, never stop dreaming. You can always come out of Mitzrayim. You should always come out of Mitzrayim and go together to Yerushalayim, to a city that is supposed to have so many voices in it. Here, in our city, in our home, in which I'm sitting right now, we will soon start our Seder. I can't wait for it. Only thinking about it every year makes me so happy, and this year especially. In our Seder, we will have family, we will have friends. We will also have refugees who came from the Ukraine and refugees who came from Eritrea and Darfur. We will all sit together in Yerushalayim, in which I really believe, one that has place for so many, that cares for so many, that is asked question by so many, that stands up in action by so many and through so many, and walks together to Yerushalayim, a place of us, a place of anachnu, that has place for every individual to be part of something greater. We're slowly walking right after Pesach-passover to national days of Israel. We will be remembering the Holocaust, but we will be remembering it with so many friends and so many voices. And we will remember it in a way that commands us to be human beings, better human beings, that see others, Jewish human beings that see the world all around us and wants to be a part of it and contribute to it and be contributed by it. And then we will go to Yom Ha'atzmaut, Independence Day, which is our birthday, and celebrate being independent and the responsibility of being independent. Our birthday of Zion and our community of Zion that was founded on that day really takes a commitment every year from the beginning to be committed to all people living in Yerushalayim, and to be committed to all people living in this country, and to be committed to all the world, all the one human family in which we live. And lastly, we go to Yom Yerushalayim, the Day of Jerusalem, on which every year, for almost 10 years, we sit with our fellow brothers, Christian and Muslims, coming from the east part of the city, and very different voices, all sitting together and saying together, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim habnuya. Next year in Jerusalem, next year in a place that has a room for all of us, and we pray for each other, with each other, being all citizens of one city, the city of Yerushalayim, which does not belong to us, we belong to it. And we know and pray that it has room for all of us, that it has room for a big us, that all of us pray for and act for. May all of us tonight pray for each other. May all of us contribute to an order that is never Sodom, but is always Yerushalayim. May all of us be free to voice what we believe in, to dream, to act. And may all of us, Be'ezrat Hashem, meet not too far away in good health in Yerushalayim. Pesach Sameach, Pesach Kasher, לשנה הבאה בירושלים הבנויה.